Right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Time now 7 o'clock. Open the council meeting. Chairman's welcome in public forum. Members of the public may address the council prior to the commencement of the meeting. Part of my welcome is we have had another councillor resign. That was Councillor Jolliffe, and she's resigned because she's now going to reside abroad. So there is a vacancy for now 2 councillors. Participation, please. Have we any questions from members of the public?
I've got 3 comments if I can. First is, you've got them to approve the minutes of the annual parish meeting. You can find that they should be approved at the next annual meeting, not at the council meeting. Because it's not council meeting.
I fully agree with you on that, but there's a slight enigma presented with that. The clerk has checked with Calc, and Calc have advised us we've got to approve the minutes at this meeting. So, unfortunately, that leaves us in a riddle, because the councillors at this meeting approved the meeting, although they sat at the meeting as members of the public. My advice is that we approve the minutes, and that the APM next year, they knew the public will have your say on the minutes. And that is the only sensible course I can follow, as there is conflicting advice. I hope you're satisfied with the answer, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I still think it's wrong, but I can see your problem. The other thing on the agenda you've got about planning applications, you're going to discuss it, may be discussed when they are not on the agenda.
Yes.
Now, if I can quote some in the Good Councillor's Guide, the 3 clear days before each council meeting is established in law because it is important to be notified of issues to be discussed. Topics requiring decision cannot be added to the agenda after the deadline. They must wait for another meeting. And each agenda item should make it very clear what you as a councillor and the public are expected to do, and be precise about the subject under discussion.
I fully agree with you there, Mr. Chairman. Look, you're coming into your 3 minutes time. Now I can answer that question for you now. Now the Good Councillor's Guide, like all guidance, was written in good faith before Mr. Eric Pickles introduced this fast-track planning. Now, people at present are using this fast-track planning to their advantage, i.e. they submit planning after we've given agenda notice, and they have short termination notes on them, i.e. we've got to explain and look at the planning before our next meeting, otherwise we run out of time. And so the only way around it, as far as I can see, other councils do practice this, and we are going to practice it. And I feel it stops the councils wasting time and money backtracking over the fast track plan. If it is wrong, I'll have to hold my hands up and admit it. But as far as I'm concerned, with the council, that we carry on. If applications are received late, we can deal with them. And by putting it on the agenda, I think it's a fair enough way around it.
If I can finish it, it is actually unlawful to make a decision without sufficient 3 clear days warning. Business conducted without being listed on the agenda or hidden in another item may be declared void of challenge. Because the main thing is, if the public would look on the agenda, plans on it, they might think, oh well, I won't come then. But if you discuss it and make a decision.
Well, I think we'll take the bull by the horns and we will discuss it.
And
as it is, Mr. Chairman, you are quite legally pointed out what can be done and what can't be done. Other councils are carrying out this practice, and I feel we should carry out the practice. And if it's unlawful, you can take it to judicial review or the local ombudsman and complain.
I'm just making a comment.
I can see the comment.
The last one is, you want talking about a laptop or external hard drive for the use that will have a large internal memory. The thing is, amount of memory makes no difference. Anything can do that projector, even a smartphone. So you don't need anything with a big memory. The size doesn't matter.
Thank you very much for your advice, Mr. Chairman. Any more other comments, please?
The AGM of the Village Hall is fixed for the 16th of July. Obviously, any member of the public, including members of the Parish Council, are welcome at the meeting. And obviously, following that meeting, the accounts, etc., will be passed to the Parish Council as is required. In view of your comment about the resignation of Councillor Jolliffe, no doubt you will in due course reappoint a new appoint a new representative from the Parish Council on the Village Hall. At the Parish Council meeting, you commented that, the annual parish meeting, you commented members had only recently been aware of the deed of trust, etc., about the Village Hall. As the custodians of the trustees, the Parish Council hold the original deeds, as far as I'm aware. At one time, they were in Barclays Bank, per the Parish Council, but I do know they were taken out of that, and I assume that they're in the archives, and I would ask you to get your clerk to check the archives and report back, hopefully, that you have such paperwork.
Well, certainly.
And
we've just got to check in the old ancient cabinet whether they're original deeds or photocopies.
but as far the Parish Council, as far as I know, originally had the original paperwork, and hopefully you will still have it. Your agenda item 120A about the toilets lease, the Town Trust are waiting on their solicitor for a fee quote. We've got a meeting on Friday, and hopefully we'll have that information by then. And as soon as we've got that, then matters will be put in hand. But you know what, how slow some solicitors are, wanting I's dotted T's crossed.
Well, they've got at least 4 months before October. I should think they should hope to move in that time.
Well, the lease isn't due to start until March next year, so they've got more time than that.
Right, thank you very much, Mr. Hill. Any more?
Can I just follow on from Keith's piece about the planning? In St Vic Parish Council, we have for a long time operated with the statement on any other planning applications will be dealt with that arrive prior to the meeting. We've had no trouble with it whatsoever. If there's something due to come in and the neighbours know it's due to come in, they'll give me a ring and ask if it's in. And in the end of the day, it's Cornwall Council that make a decision, and they've got further time to get hold of them if they wish to.
So you've had no question?
We've had no problems with it whatsoever.
Thank you very much.
And just as a point, Chairman, I know you'll be approving the minutes shortly, but I noticed on the minutes for the annual parish meeting held on the 18th, you finished at 7:56. Yet your minutes for the full council meeting, you started your meeting at 7:45. There seems to be a bit of a variance. I think perhaps it might be wise to amend those to whichever way it is.
Yeah.
The clerk had her TARDIS out. Have we any more questions from the public, please? Next on the item is a report from Councillor Hannaford, who sends her apologies. But Lou Council take her requirement priorities first. She has given us a 4-page report. I can run through the headlines. If I spent the next half hour reading this out, you'd all be sound asleep. And I shan't bore you with my voice. We go on to planning applications. PA 15/04528 Key Cottage. See if Adrian's done his work with his drawings.
Well, that's the paperwork, the application form. Anything.
The cottage itself is down by Betty Wombs. And what they're proposing to build on top of is what was an existing bathroom and outhouse.
It's the very old one, is it?
It's a very old one, yeah,
very
where a lady
Where?
called Mrs. Simmons used to live. Aubrey Simmons.
Mr. Lake used to live
And Ron Knight used to live there.
Mr. Lake used to live there.
What they're trying to do, wish to do, is an extension to the rear of the dwelling over existing single story to create the first floor bathroom. If you look on the left-hand side,
So
that's
existing.
that's existing. The bottom left-hand side,
Fine.
that's existing. If we go to the next drawing, on the bottom line, that shows you the proposals and the elevations.
So that's it, that's the new one.
I think we've got to move into the 21st century. It's a house that was 17th century or something.
Is that wood on the outside?
Yeah.
It's
Can we comment on this?
Oh yes.
Yeah. The only thing I would personally say that I don't think a cedar cladded house in the middle of that location is really within keeping of that area.
No, because it's mostly stone floors,
No,
isn't it?
But they actually seem to be using modern materials now, don't they?
it's on an elevation that looks.
But the two, where the element, where the place is in amongst stone buildings,
It's got
etc.
The
I
extension.
would have thought slate cladding would have been more appropriate for that.
All the buildings round are natural stone.
Yeah.
Or slate, one of the
Yeah.
two. So, and the big window really isn't within keeping of the cottage look.
No, that's true.
But that's my opinion.
And if they're adding a bathroom, they don't need the huge window.
Do they need such a large window at the rear which faces the street or is that such?
So what are we proposing?
What are we commenting on? Two comments. Comments are the planning should be natural materials at 12, wood is natural material, but slate or similar,
In keeping.
in keeping with the surrounding
Still.
property.
In the
And
conservation
the
area.
window should be reduced to a similar size to the existing window.
Within keeping of the rest maybe, but
Within keeping of the rest of the windows in the surrounding area of Betty Wounds.
Well, and in that building,
Which we're talking out of place.
That's a huge one.
Has anybody got any other comments?
The window doesn't really look at anything though, does it? It just looks straight to the back of.
It looks into somebody
straight-
else's property.
It looks at the wall, doesn't it? Because Stones' garage, which she's looking at, is
Yeah.
higher than it. So
but even so, I mean, it's out in keeping with the rest of the building.
Well, you could use a generalisation and say,
it's just
we don't mind about the construction, but actual materials used are not in keeping, and the windows not in keeping with the rest of the buildings in the surrounding area.
Yeah.
but that's
John, we are going to have to pass it as it is or fail it because you can't make comments because you won't take any notes of them anyway.
I was going to say the old ferry office on the quay is wood clad
Right,
at the
yeah.
front, so it's
So really, like you say, Toby, it's boiled
I
down
mean,
to...
we either accept it or don't because it doesn't matter what we say, they won't take any notes anyway.
Well,
So-
you can know and comment.
We can
Otherwise,
comment.
why bring it up?
why can't we comment? Just to
What's
say
the
that we
suggestion?
don't think we- the appropriate material.
Yeah.
When I fill out
In
the
general.
form to go off, it's two boxes. You either accept it or reject it, and then you put the comments underneath.
Yeah.
So can we have a proposal?
We can
But you still have to, Toby's right, you've still got to go one way or the other. And I can put your comments underneath.
I move that we accept it, but that we make comments.
Everybody agree
You
with that?
can't reject it, if you make comments, it's got to go to reviews.
No, I don't think so. I think you can make a comment,
Sure.
but not refuse it. A comment is
the
what it
layout
is, it's a comment.
and the increase in area isn't of concern, is it? It's the finish that's of concern.
It's just a finish.
Of the building.
I
Can
agree
we have a
with,
sensible proposal, please?
in line with what Isabel just said then, to support the application, but it would be preferable that the cladding of the building was in slate, which would
Or
be,
stone.
or stone, which would be more in keeping with the adjacent properties, and the scale of the windows
Reduce.
The window also be in keeping with the other windows.
Done the window, they don't like it.
Right, can we have a, so we've got a proposer and second,
I'll
please?
second that.
I'll propose that.
Would you get that? Right, show of hands, please.
Abstain.
One
Abstain.
Next is Trevarda House, Lanteglos, please.
That's the paperwork again, which I don't think is any
This
of
is
it.
your father house.
Opposite with your bond,
Mrs.
Hughes.
At the back.
Oh, Mrs. Hunter, thank you, thank you.
Nothing of interest on that. So that's as it is. That's the location on the back, as you've got that.
This is for a new replacement side extension and new southwest gable window opening.
And there's some just design and access to it.
Yeah, that's an old lady, must have saw her, right?
No, she's dead, and her son was at
She was well over 100, Mrs. Hunter.
Well, I mean, it's not going to sort of affect anybody out there, is it? I don't know.
No, she's out of the way.
It's in out of the way, I haven't got a problem at all.
It's only replacing what's already there.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
it's
just
just National Trust are doing
modernisation,
up the other
yes.
side anyway, so it's only going to be sort of.
The rendered, it's only that white bit on the end is what's being added to, isn't it?
You'll see that from the road anyway. So
Yeah, I can.
you only see it from the field behind.
Yeah. Can I
Which is there
interrupt a second? No. Members of the public, what do you think of this presentation on the plans?
Rubbish. I'd sooner see the plans spread out like they used to be years ago, so we can come a bit before the meeting and have a look at them there.
Unfortunately, Cornwall County Council are not providing those with us. Are you able to see it quite clear from where you are?
Not really, no. Well, you can see the drawings, but you can't read the writing very much. That could be my glasses.
Well, I've got the glasses on, I'm good on this, yeah, I'm really good.
Anyway, thank you very much. Sorry to interrupt the meeting. This is the first time we use this bit of equipment, and we're hoping it's an improvement on what County Council are going to supply us with. So can we have a proposer and seconder, please?
I propose we accept it, no problem at all.
Is it because it's not imposing on any neighbouring properties? Is that what you're kind of
Well,
saying?
you won't see it from the outside of it, it's going to change. It's just,
Fine.
it's all up behind and there's trees behind it anyway, it's only in the garden, it's just using less of the garden.
Toby and Julian, propose and second. Show of hands, please. Unanimous.
Well, if you hold that planning application, it's going to get better. I think we're just drawing a flag back at this one.
Right, next one is plan application 15 oblique 5412.
Yeah.
Dawes Lombard.
There is something there, trust me.
No, this is what we've received. We're trying to magnify it, but
There's the location plan.
Even on the
That's-
plans, you can't really see what the hell this is.
It's a conversion of a redundant barn to a dwelling, together with the construction of a garage and installation of septic tank.
That's where Dave Baker lives, isn't it?
No,
We've heard further down the road.
it's the next one over, it's half it, isn't it?
Is that near
Yeah,
place?
it's over.
But it's where you come down the T junction, in those old barns that have fallen down. It used to be a stable, wasn't it?
Yes, that's where Dave Baker lives.
Oh, really?
The photograph just, there's
Yeah, that is.
we all still in
right,
It's a
unfortunately,
little bit better, but
the drawings are poor quality.
I can't see.
And as we've previously said, Cornwall County Council are no longer going to send out full plan size drawings. If you want them, you're going to pay us
Although they have still
Yeah.
sent them out. They were going to stop on the 12th of June, but they have still sent them
£7 a copy.
You can't read.
Right, gentlemen. Okay, gentlemen.
Well, what's there at the moment, it's an eyesore, well, an eyesore, it's just run down and it's always looks
Is
untidy.
that the barn where the
There's an old cow around there.
the Percy's?
It's all dilapidated, there's chickens always running around there. I mean, it's, you know, if it's,
So what's there now would be a great improvement, but that's me.
Proposer and seconder, please.
I'll propose it.
Propose that we accept it. Vote, show of hands, please. Unanimous. Environmental and amenity matters. The key public conveniences. Any update on the proposed lease with the Town Trust?
I only had the same as what Mr Hill said. Colin Wilson had emailed me to say exactly the same, that it's just taking
We're
time
just waiting
to
for
cross
the
the T's and dot the I's.
Right. Anybody any questions on that one?
No.
Next is B, Scoop the Poop. Minute 59/2015 I refers. After 3 months of the trial posters being in place, members are to consider any further action needed.
Has it been 3 months?
Yeah.
They actually are,
Have we received
Anybody
any further
involved?
complaints?
No?
One of them is the whole walk disappeared in a week.
Well, somebody ripped it down. It must be sad. Have we got any new ones to put up?
I think it's hard.
No, I gave them all out, but I'm sure we could.
We could order some
I'm
more.
sure we could make our own for
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Really?
Have they actually worked, John?
Pardon?
Have they actually worked? Does people know it's different?
Nobody's come with any further complaints.
Complaints.
I can only assume that they have.
You know, I walk round Pole Road when I go down to the papers in the morning, and the amount of dogs mess around, I'll say, is getting rather limited. The seagulls cause more mess on a Monday morning with the plastic bags of rubbish.
They're very wily, aren't they, the
That's
seagulls? They know exactly what's happening and when it's going to.
Next,
Just leave it on the table.
So what are we going to
until
do? Make our
Thursday.
own posters, yeah?
yeah,
I propose that we do that.
secondly, we manufacture our own posters.
Deal with that as necessary.
Councillor Waken.
Next is key.
Seconding that, sorry.
Oh.
And then you'll read it, thank you.
Next is key lighting.
Right, hold on a second.
While the clients type in,
Finish.
right, you finished?
Yeah. Councillors Adam and Wild met with John Marshall from South West Water last week, and it was made apparent by Mr Marshall that South West Water fully intend to modify the lighting that is over the ferry steps on the quay so that it does provide sufficient illumination. They're currently seeking quotes to get the work underway, and Councillor Adams and Wild requested a copy of the plan and also a list of the components that will be used. They particularly wish to know where the isolation switch will be sited. A full report on this has been previously circulated to members. It's also available at the back of the room and will be, or may already be, on the Parish Council website.
Yeah, anybody, any questions on? No? The meeting with Mr Marshall about the drains was extremely good.
That's it.
They recognise the problem. The drains in Pole Ruin are not buried deep enough into the ground and they're the wrong material for the job they do at the depth they are. Councillor Wild and I, myself, had a good talk with Mr Marshall. We've looked at renewing the drains from top to bottom, but they've got to relook at that for costing purposes. There are numerous breaks in the drains in Pole Ruin. For example, between Greenbank Corner and Townsend, there is at least 3 breaks in the space of 100 yards. This is due to heavy traffic over the years going up and down on shallow clay drains. What the drain engineer considers a heavy lorry is the recycling lorry, which is 7.5 tonne. Now you imagine over the years, and particularly the material shifted out of Kendall Park, 40 tonne lorries, how those drains with less than 1 metre deep survived the battery. So we've had a good conversation with John Marshall, and they're going to look at things and sort it out.
They are going to, or they have put in for funding to replace 40 metres of the pipe from the bottom of the hill down by the quay upwards. But how long funding takes is how long is a piece of string. If the line blows before the funding is found, South West Water will repair it reactively. And again, it's as it was before. If there's no reports of complaints made, then they don't feel that there's such a high priority problem.
So if we have any lifting of any drain covers whatsoever, and we get it on a regular basis, like opposite Mr Hill's, the drain cover lifted there for 3 days. Despite numerous reports, South West Water denied all knowledge anybody rang in. I rang in at least 4 times. So any manholes lifted, drain covers lifted, will they please email or phone the clerk or myself or any councillor so we can get a report to South West Water on it.
There's a full report on that meeting as well. Again, it's at the back of the hall and also will be available on the website.
Sorry, are they put any time scale on it at all?
Well,
I mean, are we just, I mean, because it comes up every so often, I mean, are we now going to actually wait until they say we're going to do it next week, or what?
Well, he wouldn't put a time scale on it really, because he doesn't have an accurate funding job of it. They've accepted the fact that the drains do not meet present requirements.
So if that drain's cracked the way you say it's cracked, seriously, there's sewer going somewhere.
Yeah, there's 3 cracks in the
And
camera.
they don't think that's a problem.
I don't think it's a problem because people aren't complaining about it. That's all they work on, is complaints.
When you complain, you have to...
No, you just think there's sewers going somewhere between here and the sea. It's got to be.
Yeah. This is a problem. This Mr Marshall was new to the job. He's recognised the problem and he's going to put our case forward.
But then I suppose it's not in Cornwall. It's money short anyway.
That's right.
But it would be worth then putting a timeline for a review on this and chase him off again in 6 months, 12 months.
We can put a timeline, ask him 6 months' time, flag it up.
Well,
Ask the clerk to flag it up 6 monthly.
Send him a letter thanking him for his time, and hopefully we will revisit this in 6 months' time. So.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And just make sure we keep on top and log all the complaints.
I'll propose it and I'll suggest it now.
Yeah, brilliant. So can we have a show of hands, revisit 6 months?
Yeah, but I think we should I'm not in the village to see it, but certainly it should be reported by as many people as possible each time it happens.
Really it's a coordinated effort by everybody, not only councillors, members of the public as well.
Oh, yes.
Is there any way you could put a link on the website so if you get a complaint you can link it and it will automatically go rather than people trying to find
Yeah.
and sort of let people know that it's on the website? Maybe.
If it happens again and they get 50 people phoning in about it, they'll probably do something about it rather than one.
That's right. That's basically what he intimated.
Yes.
Next one is weed spraying. Members are to consider any problem areas within the parish that require weed treatment. As you know, weed spraying we've got to pay for.
Has this been flagged up? Do you remember a public complaining? Or?
No, it was one of the notes that Gillian left before for me.
No. And we didn't do it last year, so
It hasn't been done the whole time we've been on the council, has it?
Steve did it once.
What was the cost of weed spraying?
£180 just to do Pole River.
He was at Kendall Park.
Yes, Steve Denver's.
Yeah,
I
Steve.
think it was about £180.
But he did it, I believe, the first year.
I
But
assume,
after that,
assume it's still qualified because all the laws have changed on that now, because my son's just done a new course, it's all changed.
but if it's necessary and someone complains, obviously we have got the appropriate person in line if necessary.
That's how I trailers all ticketed off for it.
Yes,
Would cope with that. So.
But
Qualifications to be able to do it.
we have allotted £525 for it this year. So it's on our budget.
Well, we don't need to spend it unless, I would suggest that a member of the public complains about it. I should think we just leave it as it is because no one complained last year. It's there if we need it for something else.
Your wildflowers.
Yeah, but the trouble is, if you walk along Channel View there, all the weeds along there, they attract rubbish and litter and all the sweet papers. It does look unsightly walking along back the
That's
Channel View
people's
of the wall.
irresponsibility, it isn't the weeds' fault.
It's the earth. But
Yes.
You would spray it back, but you still have a big.
You just have brown grass, and you've got rubbish still in it, don't you? Spray it.
So really, the council don't wish to spend money on weed spray.
Well, at the moment, unless someone complains about it, then I would do something about it, but if nobody
I
complains.
think the case really needs to be made for it, because it's all well and good spraying it, but you're just left with brown grass, which is still just as unsightly
It
as the
looks
tree.
lovely.
So we're not going to do the weed, not carry out the weed spray.
Let's leave it for the
Leave
moment.
leave well alone.
I'll say, we'll let the parish come back to us on what they
If someone,
Yeah, I need a proposer in a second.
Proposer and seconder, please.
I'll propose that.
Second.
Mm.
Show of hands, please. Right, next, item F, Frogmore Public Conveniences. Members are to consider the draft renewal lease for the toilets provided by Bond Dickinson, solicitor to the National Trust. Comments, please. Have we all read the draft lease? Have we any comments about it?
Get on with it. Sounds good to me.
Everyone's happy.
Proposer and seconder, please.
Propose.
Second in show of hands. Unanimous. Next, neighbourhood plan.
Yeah, hold on. I just wonder what the other sign is.
Yeah, it's like to sign the definition. In sign it, and the present three witnesses and everything. We'll have to sign it later on.
They do have us to move that neighbourhood plan. Right. The neighbourhood plan. In the interest of progressing a neighbourhood plan, several schemes have been investigated. It is felt that we must progress the plan on an urgent basis in order to qualify for the grants or subsidies which may be available to us. Of the schemes looked at, two in particular stood out as being the most beneficial to the community in general. The first one of these involves upgrading the doctor's surgery, the general medical services to the village and surrounding area. It was a general consensus of all involved that the existing surgery on Polruan Quay is both outdated and inadequate. Therefore, finding a solution to this particular situation is at the head of our list of priorities. What is needed is a modern airy building with up-to-date facilities with our visiting doctors, adequate car parking and a recognised landing site for the air ambulance. Here I would like to request the clerk to write to the Foy River practice and set up a meeting with one or more of the doctors in order to refine their requirements to bring the facilities up here to an acceptable standard. The second scheme involves the village hall, which, similar to the doctor's surgery on the quay, seems to be generally outdated and lacking in the facilities provided by village halls in places such as Whitecross, Lamrath, Lewin and others. If we look at the usage of these other village halls, it is very high compared with ours in Polruan. To give credit where credit is due, an idea from Councillor Fisher was the trigger for this proposal. His suggestion was to combine the two facilities in one purpose-built structure. The site for this building would be on the higher Kendall Park site, where building land is available, and the site is large enough to accommodate the needs of both the village hall and the doctor's surgery. Councillor Truman then contacted the original developer of Kendall Park, who was kind enough to give freely of the information he has to hand, and furthermore, and on a no-fee basis, offered to project manage the scheme. Initial contact with the Foy River practice drew a very favourable response to the proposal, since, like their patients, they often have difficulty accessing the quay in their vehicles. Without overcommitting themselves, they did concede that the existing facility was somewhat outdated. A study is currently underway investigating why exactly other village halls in the area are doing so well and presumably turning in a profit, whilst we in Polruan do appear to be lacking somewhat. If we look at just one example, that being Whitecross Village Hall, it is used as a community facility and has a higher usage factor.
Any comments, please, on the neighbourhood plan? This is just one idea for the neighbourhood plan.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
they would incorporate everything that is in the village hall, including, you know, I mean, the theatre stuff is quite important.
This is one idea for the use of, for the neighbourhood plan. There's one
Yes.
project the neighbourhood plan can look at.
Yes, for the future.
And for the fact is that there's 106 money available from the project in Bones Meadow, which providing affordable housing is on site, then the 106 money from Bones Meadow could be used to purchase the remaining piece of land up there.
Well, I think that we should be challenged, we should do things like that for the community, to be honest.
Yes.
Does that proposal, or the proposals in that statement, fall under the category of a neighbourhood plan or a parish plan then?
Well, it's
I think it,
no, it's a neighbourhood plan, because the neighbourhood plan is about planning the ground, the remaining ground and availability of space for the future.
right.
You,
Okay,
you,
thanks, I-
you
that's
could
it.
say it as part of the original plan.
There's quite,
There's a bit of an overlap, yes.
that's right. I just wondered, were the two a bit too different? But if they
And plus the fact all the councils are being pushed for affordable housing. Like Discard's got something like the area we're under for the neighbourhood plan is got to produce 2,000 homes. The vast majority is going to Discard, 600 to Loo. So people like Councillor Anif out of that, they're looking to open up new ground. And where we write in the neighbourhood plan, this will be the nearest thing to written in tablets of stone of what we can do with our space. So our neighbourhood plan group hasn't gone off yet, but this is just one of the ideas that can be put forward on it.
And not only that, the money would be then kept in our village and used in our village, rather than if we don't use it, it gets put elsewhere.
I think that's the most important thing, when there's money generated within the village and the parish.
Kept in the village.
It's got to
For the use of the village.
It's a no-brainer to me.
Well, you know, because Paul Ruin, when you look at the plan, what land we've got available for planning, we're really restricted to Kendall Park, that space up Kendall Park, Townsend Garage, Townsend Farm, which is privately owned. The next space is Vevery, which is owned by the Town Trust. Then there's a field owned by Mrs Taylor. And the next field after that is the Henders Open, the other side of Coldon. And that's it. The rest is all National Trust. And AOB, Polo and stuffed.
But are we ever likely to get consent to purchase ground to build affordable homes in local? I mean, we've got youngsters, I've got two youngsters that know where they're going to live down here and never going to afford to live down here.
Well,
Then we've got control over that land.
Yeah, I think
you know, we would have control over it, but what we write is there for people to look at and take note of. Ultimately, in the end, county council do what they want.
Well, I mean, I
But
think
we have a say in it.
I think if we can afford to purchase that land and have that land, I think we should do it.
So this is just one idea. It's the same with up the Dinnick and Whitecross. All the available land is up Whitecross and Bedinnick, but with the land up Whitecross, if you develop around your area at Whitecross,
It's the two fields opposite end of our
Yeah.
ground is what's up.
you've got to put in a complete drainage system.
Yeah, well, they'll have all septic tanks anyway.
And the other bit of land up Bedinnick really is owned by Gavin. And Marlon's already
Not all
developed.
of it.
Not all of it.
Most of it. There's a couple of people in Bedinnick have said to me about a car park in Bedinnick. A big car park.
Well,
Because at the moment, Bedinnick is just a nightmare. I mean, I couldn't even get into Bedinnick like the day to my house because people are parked at the entrance. You've got the pub, you've got people parking to walk, and resident parking as well.
So there you are, ideas for the neighbourhood plan.
Yeah.
Has anybody had anything to say on the neighbourhood plan?
Well, now things are coming to light now, aren't they? So is it worth getting a public meeting thrown together to get this?
Well, there we are.
Once this is on the media, they can comment anyway.
People are keep giving us little bits of information of what they want, don't they?
take the lead.
So let's,
Who wishes to lead the next neighbourhood planning meeting? Okay.
I propose you chair actually, you did a good job last time, John, but
Thank you very much.
We have to try and get leaflets out to get more people involved with it though, don't we? I mean, we've got, the public is their domain, it's not really ours. We can only do what we think. Whatever we think is probably wrong in some people's eyes, but if most of the public agree to it, you know, it's like where we live, where I live, the same as we could do with the car park where I live, because I mean, people park in my place, don't know right to park in my place.
So we're all agreed then that the neighbourhood plan goes ahead and we fix a date with a suggested group of ideas and draw up a plan.
Well, there's a lot of groundwork to be done before, and it won't be long before I would have thought the 106 money comes into fruition. So it's no good being backward.
No, go forward.
Well, there's the thing is, we've got to make sure we advertise this properly, like you did last time. You had the letters out personally. So you know, the same again. Is a meeting next month too quick?
Oh, we could put in, although we put in about the litigants, in with the parish news. That would be the best way to
I
get
would
to
think
everybody.
September would be the
We
best
said we
bet.
don't have an awful meeting
Yeah.
in somewhere, do we?
I think
What's
September would be the
When
best
the
bet.
parish news come out?
Next month.
August, September, isn't it? Next this year.
So that makes sense.
We
Yeah.
could work out and go for September and advertise it in the parish.
When do we get the power? When
The annual
plan
parish
actually
news,
done?
the next
Is there
annual.
a time limit on it? This,
What, the neighbourhood plan?
yeah, the neighbourhood plan.
Not really. We're well within the time that they reckon the neighbourhood plan could take anything up to 2 years to work out.
The parish news closing date for the next one is the 14th
14.
of July, but we've already got something else
I
pipeline,
personally think,
which we'll come to in a minute, going in that.
personally, I think if you're going to do it, you want to like advertise it 3 or 4 months in advance, so that people can't say, what is it in, because
So you reckon
We-
September?
I'm just saying that I've had comments that people don't know when our meetings are going on and what time they are or anything else. But at the end of the day, something like that's just so important, it wants sort of 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 5 reminders that you know,
This is going to happen.
in September this is, or whenever we decide to do it, and then next month is the meeting, try and even use note boards and put great things on. I mean, people are either going to come or they're not, but this is quite an important decision.
So really, September's too early?
Oh no, I don't know, I'm just saying that I think the more advertising you could have.
So we'll agree with the clerk, we'll arrange a September meeting and we put in the parish news.
I was going to say, because the meeting in September's on the 28th here.
That's going to be a busy meeting as well, because there's no meeting in August.
All need to be based on-
The neighbourhood
So do we either want the
plan-
Monday the 14th or Monday the 21st?
I would go for Monday the 21st then.
Sounds good to me.
So everybody happy, Monday the 21st of September?
Yeah, you know.
Neighbourhood planning meeting. Right,
21st of September.
21st of September. In the WI here,
If it's available.
if it's available. Usual time, 7 o'clock.
And how are we going to advertise this?
First of all,
Website,
website, parish magazine, and leaflet drop, all the organisations as we did last time. I think it was 37. Bones Meadow footpath. The Bones Meadow footpath developers are to consider a start date at the end of July to upgrade the lower footpaths. Members are to consider if this is suitable, taking into account works on Hall Walk and also Regalloway. The Hall Walk repairs should be completed within the week.
Yes.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
that's
They're all finished, paths open.
Thank you. So really we can give the go-ahead to
Get on.
Bones Meadow to carry on,
ASAP.
ASAP. But we also put the proviso that we would like some drawings of what their intentions, what they intend to do to the footpath.
Can I just ask, is this, they put some sort of wally thing there, haven't they?
Yeah,
It's from there to where? The lower houses, the smaller cottages.
Policeman's Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, up around Chris's Lane up to where Keith lives, up where it goes.
No,
The lower.
Lower.
The lower footpath.
So behind where David lives, down.
Yeah. The lower end of it, next to a house called the Moorings.
Down the chapel way.
Pardon?
Down the chapel.
Yeah.
It opens up the lane, opens up almost a lane then, doesn't it?
It's just bottom half of the meadow.
So, yeah, I mean, what can it do, doesn't it?
Well, nobody knows really because they've been rather secretive, to say the least. We complained about a 4-inch drain pipe leading into the base of it.
Yeah, we don't want to raise that.
We don't want to go down.
However, if water's going to drain down that footpath, it will affect other people's properties.
I mean, will they make it any worse than it is now?
Well, they could do, yes, with the rainfall. We don't know.
It's going to run its course.
They're saying the end of July. Now that the other one is just about finished, they're saying, or is finished, is there any way of chivvying them up and bringing this forward?
Yes, that's
So
what we're
that's-
discussing.
It's away from the regatta week, away from all the rest of it.
There's no reason we send a letter now.
Yeah.
We tell them Bones Meadow, Hall Walk's finished next week. In fact, as Mr. Charman mentioned, the footpath's walkable now, it's accessible now. So we can inform Bones Meadow, they can go ahead and repair the footpath.
But to try and bring it forward.
Can I suggest that they try and get it finished before the regatta?
This
Yes.
is what
I think
You know,
that's
So it's on the agenda because
So
they're
that's
after
what
the
they're
end of
proposing.
July, that now they've got beginning of July if they want.
That's right. So
You
they
know,
can
which
bring it
brings it
forward
forward by a month.
by a month, yeah.
So they need to carry on with it as soon as possible as the work on Hall Walk will be completed within the week.
I propose that, yeah. As soon as they can get on with it, the better.
And if possible, supply us with a drawing of their intentions.
I think every is making that a condition of start.
We're not taking an extra drawing anyway.
Who's seconding that, please?
Proposer and seconder, please.
Seconder, yeah.
Show of hands, please.
Do you want me to ask for plans,
Their
what
intention.
they're doing?
A drawing, yes, please.
A drawing of some description would be nice.
Mainly because for the parish council in the future, if that wall gives way on a public footpath, like Hall Walk, somebody be saying who's liable. And further down that footpath, the wall gave way quite a few decades ago, and I believe the council had to repair that wall on the private property. So you pay for it.
The person who should repair it who's
Are there?
ground that
Pardon?
doesn't support.
Are there
Well-
with a contribution from the council?
Thank you. So really, we just need to clear up who's responsible for that public footpath, so in the future.
Well, if they're doing it, surely they're responsible for it.
It's a lifetime guarantee on it.
Right. So we're happy with the Bones Meadow footpath. Pros. Members are to consider when the second cut should be carried out.
Would that not be down to the gentleman that carried out the procedure?
The gentleman asked when you'd like it to be done.
All right. He would know what it should be like.
It's not really desperate yet, is it?
Well,
Do
we're,
you do every footpath? Or
No,
Yeah.
if he's done everything, then
He did all the silk
Yeah,
pads too.
yeah, yeah. I walked around our highway, don't do tour. He actually phoned me and left 2 or 3 messages. I think.
it's the end of
And
July.
I tried phoning him about 5 or 6 times and got his answer machine. So we had quite a conversation on answer machines, but never actually spoke to him. But
Yeah, he's done everything we asked.
Yeah.
He would like us to decide when we want the second cut done.
Could you give
Well,
us some
is it worth down to like the end of July? But if it turns out dry, doesn't he do it?
well, I say, why? Yeah, I was going to say it's no bad panic, is it? Perhaps beginning of August, like let's see it's in. I mean, like I said, it's going to be dry. Like I said, there's nothing's going to grow out from it.
beginning of August or end of August?
you want to begin?
Julian, you're a farmer, you were cutting grass.
Yeah, it's not really growing back again. Beginning of August will be fine.
Beginning of August?
Yeah.
I would have thought so.
Yeah. Go for that.
Propose and seconder, please.
Folks.
Propose beginning of August. Show of hands.
Well, it's convenience. That sort of
How is it, yeah? Preferably beginning of August, but when it's convenient to him. Lighting column. up Ocean View.
Specsavers.
Specsavers.
Right. Up at Ocean View, outside number 12, there is a leaning lamppost. And SSE
Somebody got him to
have-
go by.
said it is a matter of urgency to vertically realign the common, including excavation, backfilling and reinstatement for the rate of £144.86 excluding VAT. And then they'd like to replace the lantern with a DWW Mini Kyrium 15 LED lantern, node, control gear and internal wiring to counter council specifications for the unit rate of £434.48 excluding VAT. So for the princely sum of £579.34, we can have a new upright shining lamppost.
That lamppost been needed ever since I've been there, so there we go. But yes, I agree, it does want to straighten it up. But if the rest of the lighting throughout the villages and the heads that have been put on private roads and on private rights of way as such, and public rights of way, why have we actually got to pay for the one in Ocean View when the rest have been put and upgraded free of charge as such? They've not charged us for all the rest they put in the village, Battery Park, downwards of Blockhouse,
Do you have
top
a
of the
copy
steps at Newquay
of our
Terrace,
service agreement with SSE?
back at Tom's yard?
Because surely, you know, I went up and had a look on Saturday or Sunday, one of the days this weekend. You know, it's clear at some point in history it's obviously been backed into by a lorry or whatever is leaning quite bad, but as
Um, They
Is it causing danger?
It's gradually gone, it has gone over a
Yeah,
bit more, I
and
must
that's
admit.
the general
Yes,
terms
it
and
has
conditions
gone.
for the use of
It's gone
industrial,
over
commercial and
50
street
now, but
lighting.
each time it goes over.
But this was after they do like an annual
Yeah, can you keep quiet a minute?
thing of all of it. They wrote saying that they can confirm the annual maintenance and lamp replacement for the parish lights in the Pole Ruin area had been completed. And it says, as part of our aim to continue to improve our services, we are now including a report which will provide recommendations, if any, when replacement will be required, and also showing the next due dates for maintenance and bulk lamp change. Any lamp that fails before the due date will be changed without charge, except for vandalism. And then there is the list, and most of them are recommended within 5 years, except for that one outside number 12, which says immediate replacement required.
Yeah,
But I've got a feeling, he said to me on the phone, that if we say we don't want it, they'll just take it away and fill in the hole.
well, there's nothing wrong with the lamp or the light itself. The post could do with straightening up,
But the light still works.
But and the light works, so there's no problems with that. My question is, they have upgraded other lamps throughout the village, on unadopted roads throughout the village. What is the difference between Ocean View, Battery Park, the top of Newquay Terrace, the back steps that go to the hills?
they're within our contract though, those ones, aren't they?
Fine, but the
Yeah,
heads
well,
have
that's
been
the thing.
changed.
Yeah, they're saying
but-
that it's within our contract.
We've been through all this
But they
before.
have been changed
Yeah, but
free of charge.
we've been through all this before to do with the lightings. And the lighting up Ocean View is an enigma.
They've only got
And when
fancy on it.
when they come to sort out the lighting in Pole Ruin, it opened up a very large can of worms, particularly with the items you've just mentioned. And basically we were told 18 months when we first started that if we insist on Ocean View being fully paid for by them, then all the other lighting, which, as you say, is on unadopted private land, will have to be paid for by ourselves when they come for repair. it's a can of worms waiting to open up. So whichever way we go, if we bite the bullet and say just upright the light is there and leave it go while we look at who pays and get a definitive article on who runs and who pays for all the lighting in the parish.
I don't know, that's going to change, is it? I don't think we'll ever get Cornwall Council to take on more, will we?
Well, Cornwall Council's not going to spend money and they're looking way to shed money.
So why don't you take it down, you're going to save running it, save light pollution, save the planet.
Take it
Come on.
away.
The easiest bit would be
They
to
just say they do it for nothing.
I don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure he said that, but I will have to go back and confirm.
We don't want a big...
But for £140 then, would they do the repair to upright it? Or do they want the full invoice?
Well, I don't know.
I think the point they do something like that, they have to replace...
Yeah.
They'll do the whole lot, will they?
I think it's a case of if you're having it done, you've got to have the whole lot done.
Yeah, because they're
Because for that price, if they were going to put all the new heads on all the other lampposts on Ocean View, I'd say carry on and upgrade the lot.
You see, we have got the option. We thank you for your recent inquiry and a pleasure submitting our quotation as follows. Vertically realign the light, including excavation, backfill and reinstatement for the unit rate of £144.86p, except that to upright.
Yeah.
Now, I suggest you do that, take the bullet, and then we research a problem, like Councillor Truman says, on actually where we stand with who pays for all the lighting, whether it's at Battery Park, First Park Bungalows, the Quay, down to Brazen Island, or the eternal riddle of Ocean View lighting.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just going round in circles. So, proposer and seconder, please.
Do what? To ask them to just upright the thing and leave the actual lamp alone?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cheapest
cost
option.
140.
Plus that.
It's still
whatever
working.
it is.
Just leave it.
You can always move it out of my place, though, right? Take them on, like.
But not for the lamp to be changed.
Not for the lamp to be changed. And we'll inquire further about how the payments and repairs of all these lights are carried out. As with Southwest, as with SSE, they was charged us maintenance for years on 2 lights that never worked on Pole Road and Quay.
Right. Who's proposing that, please?
Nope.
Litter bin. There's one litter bin available to be sited within Pole Road. Members are to consider the best place for this.
On council land though, isn't it? That's it.
Well, that's, yeah.
That's the downfall.
Gina and Verity thought she could.
Yeah. One place made was just below St Saviour's by the seat there, which is big enough to take large enough space to take a large bin, and the other space to take the other bin, because there's a litter bin at the entrance to where the seats 8p are in Home Cottage, which is on private land, which will be removed, and the idea is to site a bigger bin at the start of the entrance to Battery Park, opposite Glynn. Everybody happy with those 2 proposals?
Whereabouts is it now, John? Sorry.
Which one?
The one that are going to be removed?
Well,
No, we're not on that yet. This is just one bin. We've got one bin given to us. Where do we want to put it?
do you want to put it? A big space is by St Saviour's here, by the seats.
Might as well, if it's a problem, things can be discussed again, can't it?
So we have a proposer and seconder. Proposer, Adrian, please. What are you proposing?
They can be placed by the seat outside
It's
St
St
Saviour's
Saviour's.
Church.
Everybody happy with that? Seconder, please. Show of hands. Notice boards. An update from Councillor Truman is whether anyone has been able to quote for the refurbishment of the parish notice boards.
One word,
Toby.
everybody's too busy, so at the moment,
Yeah.
everybody's flat out.
Next sentence. Toby's got the man.
I went to the annual meeting of the village hall at our parish up at Whitecross. And it was brought about the notice boards and the condition of the one up there, and they would like a bigger one. And anyway, Mr. Parfitt cornered me, and there's a chap I got in touch with called Ben Lost, and he's from, I've got his number, I've already spoken to him on the phone. He makes, that's what he does, he makes it for parish councils down Derry, and he works to a budget. He'll do hardwood, softwood, he'll come and talk to us, ask us what we want. I said, well, would you be happy to go around and look what we've got and maybe tidy them up, clean them up? Yeah, fine. So I haven't done any more on it. I said that we're having a meeting tonight, and I will get in contact with them, or I'll get the next to get in contact with them. But the one at Whitecross, I said, could we possibly move it out to the weather a bit more? And it was brought up a suggestion that maybe we moved it behind, well, by the trees, by the seat. So this chap makes, I've sent you pictures, I don't know if you've all got them,
Yeah.
he makes a roof on it, but he'll repair anything. He also repairs seats. I don't know how old chap he is, but he's got his own portable gear, and he just goes around doing parish council seats. I just think he'd be a nice chap to have along and talk to us. We go and meet him in private, or we can talk to him in front of the public, and he will quote, you know, we said we've only got this much to play with, and he'll tell us what he can do for the job. You know, I've only heard from one chap, and he seems very happy, and the clerk seems really nice. He seems.
Has he got any sort of ballpark figure for? Or
well, the one he's built in the pictures I said it was about 1,200 quid. A hardwood one would be pushing probably nearly 2,000 quid.
I think it's well worth looking at, because
It's very impressive.
You can't get anybody else to do it. He also does double-side ones. You know, I think he'll even put them up for us. We haven't got to worry about it. He'll come dig holes.
because some of them just need new, not like a cardboard insert,
Yeah.
because where you stick the pins in is right away.
The one at Whitecross, the Whitecross Village Hall Committee asked me that they would like to have a bigger one, and they're probably prepared to pay for an extra piece to put on one, because everybody up there has also said everything's so small, they can't see it because it's a limited space.
The one that we keep on about that we'll take it out of St Saviour's is a bigger one than that. So if Matey could, you know, rejig that one to be a bigger one to go up there.
Also, one down at the Dinnick, all joking aside, we could just have a board put up there, some strips with pins in it, and move that one somewhere,
Yeah,
because that is like new.
yeah.
But we could, you know, I think it's worth getting the chap here and maybe have a discussion with a few of us, show him what we've got, and he can come up with some. Yeah, I mean,
I think you got the right idea, Bernie.
Yeah.
Can we run with it?
Yeah.
Proposer and seconder, please. Propose it. Toby investigates costings and
Yeah, I mean, I can get him here or whatever, I'll go through the net and show him.
run in the mill what we got to and give us some.
We always just arrange a meeting for when suits in, and then just give a report, can't
Because he also will do the seats, he'll you know, redo the sheets. He's got a planer he takes or something, and he just planes them and stains them up and puts them back. So that's a possibility as well. You know, I told him we are replacing, but some of them, you know, I see it's not worth coming up chat with. So maybe 2 or 3 of us meeting sometime.
Yeah. So proposer and seconder, please. Yeah, all set. Show of hands, please.
Right, I'll get in touch with him and try and arrange some sort of meeting with someone.
Right, next is admin matters. Members will consider purchasing Arnold Baker Local Council Admin 9th edition for use by the clerk and the chair. This is what's nicknamed, it's a yellow book, it's called the Clerk's Bible.
I think we should just do it because we need the most up-to-date information we can get.
Yeah.
Does it come as an online version, just out of interest?
Don't think so, no, you've
You've
got
got
to
to
buy
buy the book.
it. You've got to buy the book.
That's what I was just thinking, because obviously dealing with building regs all the time. It's just an
Yeah,
online
well, there's
version
a
that
lot of
updates
stuff,
itself,
yeah.
updates itself, updates itself, and then it's...
How up to date is it?
This will be the
The
latest.
version. Well, I think we've got edition
We got
6 at the moment, I think, and this is edition 9.
Yes, I know, but I just wondered, it's expensive enough to know that we weren't really going
80 to £100.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Is there an edition 10 on the way? Is that what you mean?
Well, we could inquire,
Mm.
but if we give the clerk permission to see if 10's coming out. If 10's not coming out,
10's coming
then
out.
we purchase 9. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, proposer and seconder, please. What we proposing? Second?
Yeah.
Show of hands. Members are to consider putting a clause in future agendas as allowing planning apps that are received after the agenda has been published but prior to the meeting occurring, still to be discussed and voted on. Now we've heard from Mr Tubb, we've seen what Old Barrow Council do, we've also heard from Mr Charman that he considers it unlawful according to the Good Councillor's Guide. We the councillors have to make a decision where we run.
Well, I propose to do it.
To, obviously, when we receive it, you're writing to the applicant and or the agent to say it, so we're giving the applicant notice anyway.
And the council said we could do it.
Yeah.
Donna
I
Rackhouse
mean, we've
does
got
it
the
in
council
parish
sending
council that she
that
works
stuff
in.
straight away. We've got, I mean, it doesn't seem to be any trouble with any other parish apart from here, so I can't
Sarah at Calc advised Donna to do it in her own parish council.
Yes,
So-
it makes it too long-winded otherwise.
Proposer and seconder, please. Second, show of hands, please.
we've got to go.
Members are to consider purchasing a laptop or external hard drive for council use that will have a large internal memory and that will support the use of projector. What we're really looking at is updating our IT equipment for the future. As you can see, we've got the projector, we've got the screen,
We've got Adrian's.
we've got Adrian's
But
iPad.
it's not even for that, it's for general office
Office
use
use.
that this keeps full up.
And Lynette's small computer just isn't. And really, this.
No, there's two ways you can look at this. Like I've already said, a hard drive will cure the problem overnight. I think personally we should be going down the avenue of having a proper Apple computer, top spec, that's updated every single year, because you get Windows 8, you get all these different versions, they're all rubbish. I mean, I'm not an Apple fan, but you know, they are good gear and it's automatically updated online. If you're going to buy one now, in 6 months' time, the software will be out of date, because we've got constant trouble at work that we can't, you know, so if we buy something like an Apple that's updated automatically every 6 to 8 weeks, I know it's a lot more money, and you could argue one way or the other, but if you're going to do a job, have a proper thing. There's no point buying it.
The laptop I looked at and sent emailed you all was a top of the range HP.
Yeah, but
Cost about 700. If we could down the Apple route, you're looking at say another £300–400.
yeah, I know that, but you won't have to worry about upgrading it every year and a half, because software goes out of date.
Everything's better than I am.
No, I've got an iPad. I mean, I don't like an Apple. I mean, I've got one. I don't
I
know.
was going to say,
The thing that more the time goes on, the more technology is going to play a part in what
Yeah.
we're doing.
Yeah.
We just as well set ourselves up
So we're looking for
to be able to deal
a
with that.
quality Apple laptop.
Well, I mean, I think personally, that's only my opinion, because you can buy like HP, brilliant.
Yeah.
We at work, we bought some really high-powered computers to work. SolidWorks is what we use 6 months ago, and now they've upgraded the software, and now our computer memories aren't big enough to cope with it anymore, and we've got to have all new computers again. If you went down the Apple in the first range, which they recommended, which was a lot of money, thousands of pounds, £5,000–6,000, we wouldn't be in this predicament. I mean, I know a laptop ain't going to cost that, but what I'm saying is, you just as well buy decent Apple that gets upgraded
It's only
automatically.
going to get more and more technology now online.
So which do you want to look at? Do you want to look at Apple or Microsoft? I've got Apple myself.
Well, the thing is, you're going to have, if we go the route of the Apple, you're still going to put Word,
You get
Excel and PowerPoint.
PowerPoint.
It's Word, Excel and PowerPoint is what we're going to do.
Because I've got it on mine, you know,
Yeah.
it works on both anyway. So
Can I suggest that maybe she's going to want to use it?
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't get on with
That
Apple.
can go on me, I'm not
But
a computer
at the end of the day,
savvy.
both my sons and my wife got them, and they get on them fine. So,
Whatever you're happy with.
So we look at, but
so I think we buy a top quality Windows machine in 5–6 months' time. You'll be looking to upgrade the software, or buying different Word, or buying different Excel.
Well, do you need to upgrade it all the time? I mean, maybe in an office you do.
Well, no, because I'm not being funny.
It's changing.
But things on the internet now, you're getting more downloads, you're getting 4G, that'll just slow the thing right up, unless you're on top of it. And if they're going to be sending stuff through this from the council all the time, they're going to be upgrading their software. I mean, you can argue either way, Isabel, I'm not just saying, but if we're going to go and do it, we just as well buy something that's going to, like, Julian wouldn't buy a 50 horsepower tractor if he needs an 160 horsepower tractor in 3 months' time. It's just, to me, it makes more sense. I know it's more money, but in the meantime, if you look into it, if you get her hard drive, it'll clear out her memory on her PC there now, and it won't be a problem because you just save to it.
I think it's very much up to what you think you need.
Oh, good grief. It's not, because it's not just me, is it? We need to get something that's going to go on for years, not just...
Oh, yeah.
It's like Toby said, you can either pay 50 quid for an external hard drive and it can be passed from person to person, or you can
I personally
buy
think
the whole laptop.
we should get a personal hard drive anyway. What are they, 40 quid, if that. And that will cope with anything that we need to worry about. But I think in the long term, we ought to think maybe get from Apple, get some sort of, because we're a council, you can get, the schools get a discount. You might be able to get a discount off one.
So
but you'll get your upgrade, everything on it is upgraded all the time, as yours is. Yours might be 10 years old. You're running on the latest software that Apple's running.
That's right.
And that's the way to go if you're going to be doing something like...
So what we really need then is approach PC World who sell Apple, their business...
Well, no, only Apple sell Apple, don't they?
What?
Only Apple.
No, they sell Apple PC World down Truro.
Yeah, but you're probably better off going to the Apple shop and explain.
Well, we could go to the Apple shop. So what's the proposal
I
then?
know who got the best deal, John.
I don't want it to be me because I don't know. I don't want it to be me going to buy it because I went and bought this and was told that it was man enough for the job, it would be fine.
Yeah, but if
for
you
everything I needed to do, and it's not.
Yeah, but if you had an external hard drive on there, like I said.
Oh, yeah.
So we agreed now to purchase an external hard drive, 1 terabyte per external hard drive.
That one I emailed to was like 36 quid. And that, I can help. So anybody
Yeah,
can do
1
it. It's not
terabyte, 44.98.
You can just save everything straight back to that for a minute, sort out your folders, instead of using your hard drive on your PC, you just use that.
So we agreed to purchase this one.
I think so, and then maybe, to look at buying, we can argue, get some prices, and see what everybody thinks then, but I think if we're going to buy one, we ought to buy
research a quality business like Apple.
Well, there are quality other ones as well, but if it's Microsoft, there's always
wrong. Always crashes.
Yeah. No, they do. I mean, we have
So who would like to look at it? You, Adrian? You and me?
I
Or Toby and you?
I can go into Apple, it's not a problem that way, and we can have a look.
Would you and Adrian like to look at it?
Yeah.
So I'll get this external hard drive in the meantime.
So will this be the report back at the next meeting?
Next meeting, if you and Adrian can you and Toby can report back at the next meeting where we are with purchasing a quality business like laptop. Right, next is financial matters, accounts for payment.
I'll have proposal in second.
Proposer and seconder, please.
For the council.
Yeah.
Proposed by Bernie, seconder.
Show of hands, please. Did you put this on you, Adrian?
No, didn't get it to turn up today.
Sorry, I was putting in hope of Santander.
Santander. Right, next is accounts authorised for payment at the parish council meeting. Screwfix for taps, D. Simpson and Son for work to put in bus shelter, Andrea Sanchez footpath maintenance, Glasden UK Limit for 3 Phoenix seats, Fran Garton Extreme Clean, upkeep of the burial ground, postage, Western Web for our website, Curry's projector screen, as I paid for that, and that is reimbursement to myself. The same with Curry's projector, reimbursement to myself as I paid for it by card. A. Sanchez, strumming below Cliff Rise, which is not part of our task, is nobody owns the land, members of the public that complained about the state it was in. So we had Andreas to cut it, so Polruan looks a lot better for the coming summer. Lynette Philp mileage, Lynette Philp salary and overtime, plus as usual, HMRMC. The bank reconciliation, Santander account, as of this date, £24,241.36. Barclays account, £9,289.73. Total of £33,531 and 9 pence. Proposer and seconder, please.
I'll propose.
Second that.
Have you got a query before we vote?
Well, nothing to do with the payments, other than I thought Santander closed. Or is that
No,
something?
let's put it this way, they are a very trying bank.
We haven't even had a statement from them this month, and I've had 2 letters back from them in relevance to the closure of the account. It's still in hand.
I'm on the magic roundabout. I've been assured twice the account's closed and transferred to Barclays. And yet again, a phone call today assures me that something's gone wrong.
A letter's been received from Jade Colton, who resides at Bedinnick by Foy. She outlines her dedication to rowing and tells how she's part of the reigning county champions in the under-14s and under-16s mixed league rowing. Her dedication and determination has led to her being offered a place as a crew member of the 13-strong Great Britain team. She will be taking part in the international contest of seamanship in Denmark next year. To enable her to take up the place, she has been asked to raise a sum of £1,250. Although the Atlantic Great Britain Maritime Training Trust is a registered charity and is funding a considerable part of the trip, Jade's contribution will go towards her travel, training, taking part in the contest herself, including accommodation and food. She's inquired as to whether the parish council will consider sponsoring her, and in return she will provide a talk on her experiences next year when she returns from Denmark.
I reckon we should do it. The local person,
I do as well.
Name a grant then, please. Name a sum.
I don't know.
£50?
Right, miscellaneous, £200. She can have £200, I reckon. On the miscellaneous.
Proposer, seconder, please. Right, next is litter bins. Members of the receiver report on the meeting that was held with Verity Pole and Gina Varco from the Transport, Waste and Environment Department at Cornwall Council to discuss the issues of overflowing litter bins in Polruan. Over to you, Madam Clerk.
Right, we did meet with Verity and Gina, and it was quite an informative meeting. They've decided, or we've decided together, that a management plan will be put in place. It will be done in 5 stages. Stage 1 will be to raise as much awareness as possible to all residents and holiday homeowners within the parish about the issues and what can be done to help. Stage 2 is for the clerk to provide the Waste and Environment team with contact details of letting agencies and holiday home companies operating within the parish, so that a letter can be sent out urging the agencies to inform the homeowners to make their guests aware of the procedures needed to be complied with when dealing with their rubbish. Stage 3 will be when Corey are informed so that they can start monitoring any issues. Stage 4 will be the follow-up of properties who are still not complying, and evidence will then be gathered to start enforcements. And the final stage will be a follow-up meeting in September between us and the Waste and Environment team to see what progress has been made. A full report on the meeting is also at the back of the hall and has been previously circulated to members and will be on the Parish Council website.
Your thoughts?
I saw you Sunday,
Yeah.
10 minutes before you came along.
Yeah.
There was a Cormac lorry went down past, right? And then by, I don't know what time you were, at 6 o'clock when you whatever. it was.
Yes, 6, yeah.
Well, not long after, he come back full of litter, so he must have come down here
Yeah.
empty all this.
Yeah, they come in here every day now,
Come in a couple of times.
a couple of times a day.
So that should ease.
Well, the litter will only get worse because we're into 2 months now. Like 8 West Street this morning, 2 bad sites. One it was the rubbish was put out Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon, and by this morning it was like a battleground out there. And that was at the junction of West Street with St Saviour's Hill. It's a favourite spot.
Always the same there, isn't it?
You know, that's one place that's going to be targeted. The next place was at the bottom of West Street in Tinkers Hill.
Well, I mean, to be honest, it sounds like
4th Street was looking quite good this week.
a good plan, but as long as it's activated fairly quickly.
Yeah, the first thing they're doing is this month in the parish magazine, this parish magazine,
Yeah.
they are going to put leaflets out to everybody. So the parish magazine have kindly agreed that they will allow us to do that.
But do the owners of these cottages actually come down every week, or they have agencies to clean them?
Well, this is
I mean, you're sure you've made a key cottage down next to Julian's mum. I mean, he's got loads.
This
He's
is-
a letting agency. He must have a few in the area.
this is where it's going to get ruthless.
Well, it's got to get rid of it, isn't it?
If they do not take heed of what's been put in the parish magazine,
And they're all being written to
They're
all the
all-
letting agencies and
Well, that's long, because to be fair to the public, they'll look at a piece of paper and just chuck it. Oh, I didn't see it. We didn't get it. Unless you give it to the.
Everybody's course. We'll see
You
what
know,
happens.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds a very good plan, and if it works,
this
good.
is what you call a tightening of the screw.
Yeah, no, sounds like a
And
good
the final bit is the enforcement officer coming in, looking through the bags of rubbish, taking out receipts, finding who's the bank, because at the moment, the recycling lorry, when it comes down Polruan Hill, and Polruan Hill sometimes on a Monday morning has been a mess, on the sides and the front and rear of that recycling lorry, the 7.5 tonner, is 4 cameras. So where they stop in 4th Street, or up Channel View and everywhere else, there's a camera viewing the refuse operative picking up the rubbish. So if there's plastic bags out littered everywhere, it's on a video camera, which goes back to Water, and Gina Varco, Clarity Pop, all have access to it.
and they put any offending items in a separate part of the bags.
Sounds brilliant. Let's see how it pans out. The agent said, I mean, we can't do no more than what we've done.
That's right.
We thank you for all you did. Just we'll keep an eye on it. Let's see how it goes.
Next is reciting of litter bins. Members and parishioners have been made aware that some of the village litter bins are going to be replaced with bigger ones. The name for the bigger ones are called Jubilee bins. I don't know why it puzzled me and Bernie, this one. Namely, the numbers 0726 and 0727 in First Park, the bin on the coast path by Battery Park Home Cottage, number 0731 is being removed, is it on private land, and that will be placed at the entrance to Battery Park. And the second bin was the one we've just talked about at St Saviour's.
Whose private land is the bin on then, John?
Battery Park, they all own it. The road past Home Cottage is owned by the owner of Home Cottage.
So he is admitted liability for that.
Doesn't matter who.
Well, he has to pay rents for it. The last time I was told was when Mr. Tab used to work up there and the Edwards owned it. And they said it was on their deeds.
Well, it's just a question of who is
But
claiming what.
it's the council's policy that they do not place litter bins on private land. Unless the owner of the private land wishes to pay for it. So they're removing it out to the nearest place of council property. Any more questions? No? Next is Kendall Park, Highways Act 1980, Section 38. A notice under the Section 228 of the Highways Act has been promptly displayed at the section of the road known as Kendall Park, Polruan, for 28 days, and as no objections were made, the carriage and footway at the street known as Kendall Park, Polruan, became highways maintainable at the public expense on the 20th of April 2015. No doubt street lighting will come under that one.
They've already got their numbers attached.
And as usual, Ocean View gets a kickback. Perhaps we can argue in future as the precedents are being set. Make a case.
Oh, yeah.
Meeting closed at 20:55.
Right, there's another one.
5-minute break. And then we're into the
Right, fair enough.
extraordinary full council meeting. Started it, commenced at 9 o'clock for planning applications.
Oh, from Mr Paul Thomas from Foy Harbour. Foy Harbour Commissioners are, as statutory harbour authority for the Port of Foy, are disappointed not to have been included as a statutory consultee on this application. Foy Harbour Commissioners own the area of Fundus and Foreshore that adjoins the applicant's property, the boundary being the mean high water mark. From the drawings supplied with the application, the proposed structure appears to extend onto Foy Harbour Commissioners' property. Any proposed work within the harbour would also be likely to require marine licence approval from the MMO. In view of the lack of consultation with Foy Harbour Commissioners and the fact that no consent for this work has been made, Foy Harbour Commissioners wish to register their objection to this application.
Right, next is the planning applications. Planning application 15/04830, 67 West Street. Replacement of steps leading down to beach level from the cliff path, all within the ownership of the property. Comments, please.
As I understand it, it's replacement because they've rotted or something?
No, it's an existing piece, but the problem.
Further on down, you'll see the photos of the existing steps.
So I've put the pin in slightly wrong place. I apologise for that. It's a bit more to the right.
What's there now?
Can you go down to the other photographs, Adrian? What's there now of Boys Cove?
That's is the two. Is that one?
No, there's another 2 photographs on the application.
But they're up with the application.
Yeah, they were.
There's nothing with the application. It's
Yeah,
Google Earth eye down.
There was,
It's on there.
on the drawing there.
The drawing, get the drawing.
Yeah. On those particular drawings.
I was just saying, I would download.
Two dilapidated pieces of pipe and
A
something
little
else.
lethal, actually.
What it is these stamps were put in by a gentleman called Mr. Plummer, who purchased 67 West Street after he sold Garden House. And from what I believe, his garden house, an edge of that land was transferred on the 67 West Street. The edge of the land is there.
The steps there?
That's the steps there. The dispute the harbour master's talking about.
They're all dilapidated, it's just
And the new steps
buried on one of those other bits in there.
to go around here.
The steps the harbour master's talking about, look at first on the drawings, not to encroach on the harbour, on the fundus, which means a seabed. They encroach, he reckons, by a few metres. They state on their application that it's all within the curtilage of their ownership of property of their deeds, which is clearly not.
Who?
All they,
The owner of the property or the...
yes and no, that they actually own to the mean high
High
water
water
mark finished.
They're
They
used,
can put a set of steps down the cliff to the high water mark, but they cannot go any further and encroach onto the beach without the harbour master's permission.
Well, in that case, they
Probably
go with
the-
the harbour master.
probably
Well,
these steps,
we
this
can't
section
tell the
down
harbour
here
master what to
will
do.
be on the harbour master's property list, on the fundus.
Right,
The
sorry.
problem is what they say is the ownership that appears on their deeds. Also, they say the mean high water mark is a bit undefinable. They reckon it's rather vague. But to anybody who's lived in this harbour, you just got to look at the rocks and that tells you where the high water mark is. They're playing on words.
Well, in that answer, I think we should reject it, because we've got to go with the harbour master, really.
Well, they don't own the property that they want to develop. End of story, isn't it?
What are they supposed to do, jump off?
Well,
Yes, but if you look at the property on Garden House, you will find that the steps from Garden House down to where their little patio is, and there used to be a boat down there, because all of us here have swum there. When we were in primary school, we used to use it as a swimming school, as we were kids.
Well, long
No.
way forward.
That patio piece is just on the edge of the high water mark. It does not encroach down onto the fundus. These steps are encroaching onto the
They
fundus.
want to actually build down onto the beach
I see.
and encroach onto the
They
beach.
can only go down to a certain point. I've got a problem with that, but they can't go down further than what they're not allowed to.
By the water.
So, but then if they're going to do that, then we've got to reject it, haven't we? Because they looks by the looks of those plans, they're going right down to the water's edge.
No, they're going down onto the beach.
So in that case, then we can't accept it, 'cause it's not theirs to do that.
Any more comments?
Well, I was going to say that the exact same, to object on the grounds that the development will exceed beyond their boundary. But that said, if the harbour master gave permission, then there wouldn't be the. But while there is no consultation between the landowner that they want to put their steps on.
No,
But
the
the
harbour
actual,
master didn't know anything about it.
but the actual drawings show, what we're going to vote on is a drawing that shows them encroaching onto
Yes.
the beach. End of story.
So you can't do
So,
that.
well, that's it. If the harbour master was in support of it because he knew it was going to happen, then there would be no reason to object.
And
But
we
while
recommend that they go to the harbour master and get.
Yeah, well,
They should have done
they
anyway.
should have done that in the first place. So
I think it's
why you should
probably
make
come back
Yeah.
again.
Harbour master.
Yeah.
Can we have a proposal please?
I propose that we reject it.
Seconded? Show of hands?
Less, well,
Well,
next
they
one.
can't
That's
vote
the
on
harbour
it.
If we put- if we
On
put
what
comment,
grounds are
if you
you
put comment.
rejecting?
it's
Well,
encroaching
harbour
on
master
what is
has no
encroaching on.
permission.
No, they do not own the land that they intend to build on.
So the development exceeds beyond their boundary.
They own the land, yeah.
But if the harbour master agrees to it, then it can come back to us and then we can have another
What's the
vote.
point actually?
Well, you can put that in recommendations.
Yeah, that could be a.
That they need to make consultation with the harbour master.
That's right. That's right. They want to build.
So Jean Hill must have had permission from the harbour
Yeah.
master.
Well, I think
Full
several,
harbour commission.
several years ago, Martin Butler put it out. I think there was a bit of a
What's
check.
this to go?
There was a bit of a Right, is everybody happy?
You
Right,
want to go?
close the meeting. Meeting closed at 21:10.